So there's a lot of PlayStation news this time around, and unfortunately, a good chunk of it is sad news. Sony announced today that the highly anticipated continuation of Nathan Drake's story is gonna be delayed. The developers of Uncharted 4 had this to say. So we've made the difficult choice of pushing the game's release date. Giving us a few extra months will make certain that Uncharted 4: Thief's End not only meets the team's highest standards, but the high standards that gamers have come to expect from a Naughty Dog title. While I'm sad that the game is being delayed until spring next year, I can't really blame the developers for doing this. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing. Delaying a game because you feel that it's not ready yet is very admirable, because you don't want to put out an unfinished product or a product you're not proud of just so you can make a return on it. And Naughty Dog has never really been a studio who's done that, and I really appreciate that they want to make sure that their products are very high quality, and I think this is a very smart move. And this is a trend that has sort of been making its way throughout the industry, with companies like EA and even Ubisoft they're taking note of these things, and they've even delayed a couple games of their own in order to make sure that they're polished, and hopefully in the future this continues. They don't release games that are unfinished and just aren't frankly what they even envisioned in their head what the game was going to be in the end, and try to fix it with patches after it's been released. It's crazy that even went on, and hopefully it stops in the near future. Some more sad news if you're a PlayStation mobile user. Sony is shutting down the service this year, with content distribution closing on July 15th, and the service is just going to go down completely on September 10th. The service was put in place to encourage and nurture development of games for PlayStation certified devices. You may remember the Xperia Play, aka the PlayStation phone, that came out a couple years back, and it was sort of a big deal, but people really didn't buy into it all that much, and it was a good idea at the time. But I think this is a good move by Sony, because I feel that this service is kind of a remnant of the old PlayStation and the way they used to do things. Because back then, PlayStation and Microsoft, they didn't know how well these consoles were gonna sell. Console gaming looked all but dead. With the release of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it swept across the North American region and Europe and other regions across the world, and it's just doing very well. It's doing far better than Sony even predicted, than Microsoft predicted. The PlayStation 4 is currently outpacing the PlayStation 2 and is currently still in the running to be one of the greatest selling consoles of all time. It's currently one of the fastest selling consoles of all time, and by the end of its life cycle, who knows how much it's gonna sell. But it's a very high demand device, and the Xbox One's not doing too bad either. And this is probably a great thing, especially with the streaming services. We're now getting Netflix style gaming services such as PlayStation Now, and now Nvidia Grid, which was announced at GDC, which looks great. I didn't make a video about that, but maybe I will in the future, because that actually looks really cool and I'm interested in it. Gaming is changing, the way we consume content in general is changing, and Sony's doing a good job by kind of forgetting about the old way they did things and focusing on things that are will be more relevant in the coming years. Speaking of how well consoles are doing, in the PlayStation 4 in particular, it's going to be released in China on March 20th. Sony announced this today after it was delayed for a few months. It was originally going to come out back, I think, sometime in January, but the Chinese government wanted to make some changes. So recently, the Chinese government has extended the zone in which foreign consoles can be sold in China, so it can go beyond Shanghai now, and they can be sold legally. And PlayStation is going to be releasing there very soon. It's going to be around $463 versus the $399 here in North America. So it's a bit more expensive, but it's not nearly as expensive as it is in some other regions. Brazil. It's still kind of palpable kind of price. Hopefully it may go down there in the future, but we don't know how well the console is going to do there. And they're probably trying to gauge the demand for these consoles there, which I think a lot of Chinese people are actually hungry for this sort of thing. A lot of them are PC gamers over there since they couldn't get their hands on these consoles in the first place, but I think that a large number of consoles will be sold in Japan eventually. It's a large market and there's a lot of money to be made there, so no wonder Microsoft and Sony hopped on this. Well, that's it for this video. Don't forget to rate the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about all this? Also, don't forget to subscribe for more content. Follow me on Twitter so I can keep you up to date with my uploads. I'll have a link to all my sources in the description below. As always, stay super and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.